Welcome back to Cigar Time. You know, I got to come up with a new intro. I say that
You've been doing it for 8 years.
Every week I say the same damn thing. Oh, you allowed to say damn on television?
Mm-hmm.
I guess so. Yeah.
They're ever so friendly.
I didn't forget. I'm just a little slow. You know, it takes me a while to get started. You know, I haven't had my morning cigar yet.
Okay.
Your ever so friendly show all about premium cigars. Does that satisfy you?
That's us.
All right. Scott's very particular. Well, we're very pleased to have Max back for a second week.
Yes, thank you, Max.
He's the national sales manager
That's
and
right.
executive vice president. And
Very fancy name.
in charge of everything, correct?
Oh, I'd like to think so.
Did I get your? Did I say it the way you wanted me
Oh,
to say
it sounded
okay.
perfect.
Will Rocky give you a raise?
I think so, yeah.
I'll work on it. This week we're going to smoke. What are we smoking this week?
The Rocky Patel Disciple, which is another cigar that is a pre-release, and this is probably about, we're expecting this in another month and a half or so.
Oh, okay.
So
Cool.
you guys are going to get a little preview. This is something that's only been shown to a very few select folks that were with us at the trade show.
And they had to sign.
Hey, that was me.
That's
confidentiality
right.
and, you know,
Absolutely.
signing blood and everything. Yeah. All right, let's light.
I like the copper band.
Yeah, it's
It's
cool.
really
It's
cool.
really cool.
Pops, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it does.
It absolutely does.
What will the box look like? I take it it'll be somewhat in the colors of.
Really sharp. It's in a black box that has kind of alternating stripe of matte and glossy, and it actually looks really it's really sharp. And then what's neat is the copper really pops against that background, so it looks pretty good. We're pretty proud of it. This was designed by Rob Rhymes, who's our longtime art director, and this project was one of his babies.
Maybe one day we'll get big enough to afford our own art director. I mean, that's very
Wait a second.
impressive. You have your own.
Aren't you the art director?
Yeah, I'm definitely
Wait a
art, but Mike's the director.
Interesting.
So give you a little about the blend.
Yeah.
So what we used is a San Andreas wrapper, which you probably taste right on the light there.
Yeah.
Right
It's
on
got
it.
that
Absolutely.
very, very distinct, delicious
Yes.
flavor to it. And that's over a core of Nicaraguan binders and fillers that we use from all different regions in Nicaragua, not just Esteli, because you get one flavor profile, but from Condega, from Jalapa. So it's got some stuff going on there with the flavor profile. And it's blended with the idea of being medium to full.
Okay.
Your mileage may vary.
Yeah.
It's an interesting aroma from
In case
The
you missed
smoke.
last week's show, the reason Max may look so familiar to you, he was the star a number of years ago of a TV program, a network TV
of
program
course.
called Amazing Race.
Yes.
He and his wife participated, and they came in close to first.
I think that my wife was the actual star, and I remember getting a phone call from Rocky the night after the finale aired, and Rocky was pretty emotional and saying how he was proud, and he goes, and oh, by the way, I was just getting ready to make you a cigar, but I guess we have to change the name to the runner-up. He had to stick me, he like proud, but then he got me good at the end.
Yeah, but you still got a lot of money and a couple cars and
We
everything.
did all right, yeah. I can't complain, and we got to see the world. So
You
that
got to
was,
see the world.
we got to see the world, and everybody got to watch my honeymoon because that was 2 weeks after we
Oh,
were
that's
married.
cool. Yeah,
Really?
It was
nice.
pretty public honeymoon.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say.
Sink or swim, right?
Yeah, I would say.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
When you're still married.
we are.
And
Yeah.
of course,
Beautiful thing.
coming in so close to first, really, you didn't lose that much in the difference, right? The difference was how much again?
Only $975,000.
what's-
Yeah.
What's that?
After taxes, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Basically nothing,
It's
right?
$10.
Yeah, $10.
Don't talk about the IRS.
Great flavor profile to that. To me, when you light that, what we smoked last week is just apples and oranges.
Oh, absolutely.
Couldn't be more different, right?
Getting a lot of
Very tasty right from the get-go. though.
getting a lot of pepper on
Yeah.
the front of it.
There's a really unique flavor. I can't figure out what it is going on.
Almost floral. almost floral.
It's something. I mean,
It has
it's
a little semi-sweet finish.
yeah. I was just
Well,
gonna say
yeah.
a sweet,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think I'm getting some, I don't know, coffee or espresso or something like that. But there's something else going on, and I don't know what it is.
I love the floral descriptor because I like that in cigars, and I like that kind of complexity, and I think that's one of the things that Rocky strives to do. You know, Rocky's a cook and a chef.
Oh, yeah.
So to Rocky, when he's blending, he's looking for layers of flavor and not just one streamlined thing. And that's something that I found when we lit this cigar up, and as we were blending this cigar, was it just had the layers of flavor to it, and it wasn't just one thing, and it had, you know, different elements throughout.
I got a question for you. You were in on the blending process, yeah? What do you do to recharge your palate so you don't get burned out? Like I've seen it done a million times.
The old Manny method.
You're trying this cigar, you're trying this cigar, you're trying this cigar, and after a while your taste buds just are dead.
Dark chocolate, nuts, and ice water.
What do you eat in between them?
So you know what
recharge it?
what I actually like is I like to have ice water with lots of lemon, because I almost feel as if the lemon kind of zings me back like a sorbet.
Yeah.
Like a
Right.
sorbet
Right.
is a palate cleanser.
Right.
To me, I like the ice water with lemon because it kind of brings me back to baseline and neutral. Because if I put too much stuff on my palate, like with like a coffee or whatever, then I'm kind of, you know, I'm creating a new layer of
Right.
something over it. Whereas the lemon to me is almost like, okay, we're gonna strip it and go for it. So I like water with a lot of lemon, and just that kind of bring me back to that, you know, I feel as if it kind of recharges the palate. But you definitely, you know, get to we call it palate fatigue.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, okay,
Yeah. They start,
can't-
Yeah, it starts
You're
to
not
I can't
taste
getting
taste
like-
anymore.
anything, right?
Yeah.
you know, and then the third one, you're like, well, this one's a little different. No, it's not. Your palate's changing as
Changing.
you
Yeah.
know, as we're smoking. But I love water and lots of lemon. For me.
Okay. I've never tried that. I tried the one with Michael Giannini. He eats bananas.
Oh, interesting.
He'll eat a banana,
Yeah.
like part of a banana.
He said
in
it
between.
restores the sugars to his. I think
Well,
that's what he said.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
The traditional way that I learned from many old timers, the Manny method,
Right,
the ice water, the dark chocolate,
right.
and the nuts.
Almonds.
Yeah, almonds, yeah.
Almonds, yeah. I mean,
Well, I can see where like you said, the chocolate will give you just another
Exactly,
taste,
yep.
another
Yeah.
coating of
Oh, for sure.
something. Yeah, so
Well, and have you ever noticed how differently a cigar tastes, whether you light it up first thing in the morning or like after a big meal? All of a sudden,
Right.
it's just you had a steak and maybe you drank some red wine or you had whatever, and then all of a sudden the cigar tastes entirely different.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, from my point of view, this cigar will stand up to a good Jack.
Well, you like them more on the fuller side.
Yeah, I do. I like more full-bodied cigars. I'm also a very big Jack drinker. But this would stand up to a glass of Jack.
that's an understatement.
Just because I own stock in the company.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Oh. I must have taken it from you.
I don't drink as much as I used to anymore.
I don't drink at all.
I remember,
That's not true.
I remember many, many years
He doesn't
ago.
drink anymore, but doesn't drink any less.
Yeah.
I remember many, many years ago when Lou Rothman opened up the store in Whippany, New Jersey, and I visited with him. They were still stocking the liquor shelves and stuff, so I'm not even sure he was open yet. And we sat in the lounge for the better part of the afternoon, and I noticed he was smoking Casablancas. Anybody remember Casablancas?
I do.
Which was a very, very inexpensive, light Connecticut cigar. Now, Lou could afford any cigar he wanted in the world. And he used to smoke, when I knew him back in the 60s and 70s, I guess more the 70s, when he had the what I used to call a Tiamo store on the Upper West Side. He used to smoke strong cigars. I mean, he cut his teeth on very strong cigars. I said to him, why are you smoking such a light cigar? Besides the cost. Of course, he was the manufacturer. And he said, you'll see, as you get older, well, Lou's only a couple years older than me, but this was like 20-some years ago. When you get older, your taste will evolve and you'll like more mild cigars. And sure enough, he was right.
I'm finding myself
yeah,
doing that same thing.
yeah, I'm not
I mean,
quite to the Casablanca stage. But
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoy my full-body cigars, but every now and then, you know, I'm
Yeah.
starting to throw Connecticut shade, lighter smokes in there.
Like every once in a while, I'll smoke one of those Javas.
Yeah.
Or as has been said in the other show,
If you can find
the
them.
cloud
If you can
shaded.
The cloud shade.
Don't rub it in.
I hear it all the time. Guys that are kind of cycle through flavor profile.
Oh, yeah.
And they had been all full, and then all of a sudden they start smoking medium. And I think that the palate just evolves. Or sometimes you just
Yeah.
don't want that challenge. You're like,
Yeah.
all right, I know this strong cigar is going to be really challenging.
I don't want to fight with it.
Yeah, I just want
Yes.
to. I want to
Yeah.
light it up and just
Yeah.
it's super easy.
Yeah, the stronger stuff just lingers there for just a lot longer than lighter. And have a couple of those, and it's, like I said, I'm fried.
Yeah, that's how my mouth will feel fried after something that's just too powerful. Now, if it's like a petite Corona after dinner with an espresso or a glass of Amaro, I can take something nice and full, and really, really love it. But in the morning, I'm not looking for that
No.
bang.
I'm
My
the
first
opposite.
cigar
I
in the
start
morning.
off with
You
a
like the
strong
strong one in the morning?
Yeah, I like to get the hard starter with a
I
cup of
just-
coffee.
that's it.
And then by the end of the day, I want to
Good.
slow down.
You
so
take
I
it,
gotta go
okay,
the
I
other
can
way.
see that as well.
See, I'm
Yeah.
opposite. I start off with a mild
Yeah,
cigar.
so do I. I know which one
And
you
then-
smoke. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like a little lighter in the first thing in
Yeah.
the morning.
I just open the humidor and I'm like, all right, that's it.
Yeah.
Whatever I feel. in the mood
I open
for.
the humidor and go, so many cigars, so little time.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is a challenge. Sometimes, of course, what are you doing? How much time have you got?
Right.
The ideal cigar for guys like us is probably a Corona.
Should
I
be,
love
yeah.
Coronas.
Yeah, well,
Corona's a great size.
we all like Coronas. We like Lonsdales and
Yeah.
Lanceros, and unfortunately, the public, which is really
It's,
at the end
everybody,
of
everybody.
Yeah.
the day. Yeah, I mean, look how we all love Lanceros. I'm sure there's nobody up here that doesn't like a Lancero, and for some good reasons. But yet, it's hard to sell them.
I love a Corona, and
Yeah.
and there's a few lines that we have introduced in the last few years, and we have a Corona. And the reason we have a Corona is not because it's going to be the #1 seller, but because Rocky tasted it while blending it and said, "I like that. Make it in a Corona.
Yeah, blend it to it.
It
yeah.
tastes good.
Yeah.
Let's make
what
the
what
cigar."
sizes is this going to come out in?
So this is going to be in 3 sizes: Robusto, standard, 5.5. Well, there's no standard.
No,
Yeah,
not
there's no
anymore.
standard.
Let me
Yeah.
take that back. A 5x50-ish, a Toro 6x52-ish, and then we'll make it in a 6x60 as well.
It's amazing how the Churchill has just. When I started in the business,
Yeah.
Churchill was the #1.
You
that was the
had to
biggest.
have
that was
it.
Yeah.
But
Now's a 6x60.
and my theory, even though the theory goes out the window with the 6x60, I think between all the smoking bans, the unavailability of smoking in restaurants and such, that's why I think the Churchills have gone by the wayside.
Yeah, but the 6x60
That's what
just
defies
replaced
it.
it.
Yeah, I know,
It
but
replaced it.
it defies it.
I can only
It
think
take-
of a handful of Churchills that we carry. I mean, you might be able to.
Well,
There's not many.
I mean, a Churchill
yeah.
was the #1 size.
Of course.
No ifs, ands, or buts. And look at it now.
You don't see double Coronas anymore.
Nope.
No.
Well,
Not at all.
some people
Rare.
Well,
call
some
it a
people
Charles.
some people call them
it
a Churchill.
Right, rarely. But
Yeah.
it's definitely shifted, and I've seen that. You had to have a Churchill now, then you had to have a Robusto, and now I see probably for us, our company, Toro would be
Yeah, that's the number
the
one
number
size.
one
Yeah.
That
size.
is definitely the number
That's
one size.
kind of become like the standard,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
pretty much. Yeah.
but yeah, Churchill was huge.
What's your #1 selling line?
Uh,
Edge?
No, believe it or not, it's
Really?
out of 1999 Connecticut.
That's a good cigar.
Toro,
Yeah, that's a good cigar.
#1 SKU in the company. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, I thought it would have been the Edge.
Because of the price.
For years, it was Edge Toro Maduro and Edge Toro Corojo.
Right.
But the
Skin number 39, 30,
the
49, 30.
you've got it. The 99 actually surpassed it in terms
Wow.
of numbers.
One,
Yeah.
2, 3, 3.
Well, should we give our first review? Scott,
Sure.
why don't you start it out?
It's definitely stronger than the one we had last week.
You think?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier getting there is a definite sweetness to it.
Almost chocolatey.
Almost yeah, but that's sort of my go-to description.
Well, more of a semi-sweet.
I mentioned before that I'm getting some kind of an espresso or some kind of a coffee-ish going on, and there's something else there I can't identify. It's really good. I identified it really good.
Rob?
I really like the retro hell in this cigar. It's really tasty. It's more. It's like a coffee-ish like you're saying, espresso taste to it. It's really tasty, and you definitely get the sweetness from the San Andreas wrapper. It's but for being so bold, it's very smooth. It really is.
Aged tobacco.
Yeah, I like it. It's a very tasty cigar, and I like Nicaraguan tobacco anyway. I mean, that's the best tobacco out there.
Yeah,
And San Andreas, number 2 favorite wrapper.
Well, I got a story about that.
Cameroon.
Moose?
I agree with him, other than the little bit of floral I'm getting out of it too.
Oh yeah.
The
Maybe
amazing,
that's what it is. Sorry.
the amazing thing is that 20 years ago, in the 90s, there were some very popular Mexican cigars, and most of them were San Andreas. And then they died. I mean, they just died. And then I guess the last 10, 12 years,
There was just a stigma for whatever
I
reason
know.
about Mexican
well,
tobacco.
there are some relatively low cost, not necessarily the highest quality cigars that emanated from Mexico. But now the San Andreas wrapper is like the rage,
Red hot.
red hot.
Red
And things
hot.
like Cameroon, not as much. Although there are some good.
Still the best wrapper out there, though.
Yes, but it's hard to work with. And
Well,
you know,
yeah, it's too
expensive.
fragile. It's fragile and it's very expensive.
Yeah, but it's amazing how the Mexican tobacco has made such a comeback
Yeah.
over the last maybe dozen years or so.
We're using it on a lot of our cigars.
Yeah.
You guys
so
used to
is
use.
General. General uses a lot of it too.
You guys still use a lot of Pennsylvania tobacco?
No,
Not anymore?
Not nearly as much. Availability
I was
became
just
another
gonna
thing.
say,
Right.
yeah.
With that broadleaf and just kind of an availability thing. We've shifted a lot of stuff that a lot of the new blends we have incorporated this San Andreas. It was just hits on so many levels and flavors that we look
Right.
for. And like as I smoke this, I get like that baking spice. Or if you've ever had like just cocoa, baking cocoa, unsweetened
Right,
baking cocoa,
Yeah.
and it's in a pan getting a little warmed, it's almost got that warmed baking cocoa flavor to it. Like it's not sweet, but it's like somewhere in between that
Right.
sweet and savory. And what's incredible is to smoke this cigar through its stages. And then, in Vegas, when we started smoking this, everything is so dry. No matter how much humidity you add to things and how humid we keep it, your cigar just being in the air starts
it's
to
dried
lose.
out. The oil's dry. Yeah.
They just lose it. And then, so as I have been smoking these through the last month since coming home, and, in our northeast conditions where we've
Right.
had nice humidity,
Yeah.
lots of rain,
Yeah.
how the flavors to me have changed on this cigar. And
Yeah.
I know it's because as we change that relative humidity, the sweetness is starting to show itself more,
yeah.
with the humidity returning.
To just finish my initial review, those of you who watch the show long enough know that I don't really care about strain. I don't care about the burn on the back of the tongue. I don't care about any of that. I go for taste. Taste is what clinches it for me. I mean, I can tolerate any mild, medium, strong, whatever, smoking long enough. But this has a very unique taste, a very pronounced taste, and it's a very good taste. I'm almost afraid to ask, what's the price range on these?
This is right back in our sweet spot.
Oh, okay.
1050 on a
Okay.
Robusto, right back to I think we're going to say the highest end will be 1150 for the largest size.
Oh, okay.
But right at that $10 mark on the Robustos, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
It's a very good cigar.
Yeah, no shit.
Let's talk something that Rocky is very,
Edit that.
very deep into, and thank God we have people like Rocky that fight these battles for us, the legislative end of things. And I know that may not be your end of the company necessarily, but is there anything, that you're aware of that is happening, or fights we're fighting with the government, et cetera, et cetera? Anything you can fill us in on?
So, I absorb it through osmosis, through Rocky, and the more I sit there and listen to Rocky.
He's a little thinner than than Nimish, so you're better absorbing from him.
That's right, exactly.
You can tell Nimish I said that.
No problem. Well, he'll see it.
Oh, that's true.
That's
yeah.
right. It's been a continuing battle for the cigar smokers, these manufacturers, for your rights as a consumer, and Rocky has been on the forefront of it. along
Yeah.
with several others.
Oh yeah, no, certainly.
that have done. Rocky obviously talks about working with Carlito and George and
Robbie Levin.
Robbie,
Yeah.
of course, and they talk about the work that those guys have done, and what's kind of cool is to see them, and their friendships as competitors established because of the work they've done together in DC.
Right.
There's still an uphill battle.
Uh,
But we continue to try to get our ducks in a row and fight what we think is the good fight, whether it's for substantial equivalency or what have you. But Rocky would really be the guy to give you the most current.
Right, no,
Because
no,
this stuff changes so quickly.
I know.
Yeah.
I fear giving last week's news that it'll be all of a sudden dated.
Yeah.
Right.
But he is so sharp, and I got to tell you, we have spent so much. There are so many times where I've been sitting outside of an account, saying, "Hey, I'll be right in." Rocky's just on a call with either congressperson,
Right.
or senator, or board of health, and I'm like, my goodness, it's amazing how much of his time
He spends on this. Yeah.
he spends on the legislative side. And I've heard Rocky say a few times, I don't go to bed at night and stay awake because I'm worried about the competition. I'm worried about the government.
Oh, of course, we all are. Yeah.
And I always thought, wow, too bad you can't just take that energy and be like, oh, always towards your competition and growing, but you're worried that someone's going to take away what you've been working at.
My concern, and I think it's a fairly valid one, we don't do enough at the grassroots level. We don't really engage our customers in this fight. I know there's a trade organization, but I just don't see, look, we've got 19 stores, and if we're not doing it to a level that I think justifies anything, but there's just no cohesiveness in this battle at our level.
And I think there's a lot of validity to that. It's because it almost seems as if, it doesn't matter until it actually affects you.
Oh,
and
of
now
course,
all of
right.
a sudden that guy walks in and there's all plain packaging, or he can't walk into a humidor.
Go to Canada.
It doesn't hit home
Right.
until it's too late. So we end up being reactive
Yeah, instead of proactive.
Because it's just not, it's not in their daily picture yet. And it's too late.
It's just a shame. We go to the IPCPR trade show. We're members of the TAA. TA is not real big, but it's pretty powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rocky once told me that it represents 15% of the retailers in the country.
Sure.
And there's like thousands of retailers.
Sure.
So it's a pretty powerful group. And they have lawyers and people making presentations and talking and bing and a bang and a boom. But we're not galvanized. We're not, here's a rifle, go to the front kind of mode. And until we get our consumers feeling that way, that the consumers feel threatened by this. I mean, they feel threatened by smoking bans, and you can't smoke here, you can't go to the beach or whatever. But there's just no putting it all together.
It's difficult.
I know, and it's
so
frustrating to me.
It happens with us on even state levels. Like, hey, we need a state organization because there's a new tax coming. It's 75%. And then it's, we told you about this a year ago. And now they don't care until it actually affects them. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, where did this come from? Why did my $10 cigar turn into $16.75?
Yeah.
And it's, again, it's that reactive, and it's almost like it's too late. But you're right. I wish there were something we could do. And I know Rocky is a rock star when it comes to events. First thing he starts talking about is how lucky we are to be here and able to smoke a fine cigar and have this. Like, he breaks into, his soliloquies, and it's great. And a lot of times I see people say, "Wow, really? I didn't know."
Yeah,
that. Like,
exactly.
Really, they want to ban this or they want to take away that, and the message is not out there. What was really powerful one time, Rocky was on Tucker Carlson.
I saw that.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And I have to tell you, that was interesting. So interesting about that is the response to what we put out on our Facebook or our social media platforms or our website is received by people who went to that format, right? They were looking for it. Mm-hmm. When we were on Tucker Carlson, so many people heard the message for the
Right,
first time.
right.
Because they're not necessarily a cigar smoker, so they're like, what's going on in the cigar industry? And I had more messages and texts and emails from non-industry people who had never heard it before. So it was incredible how powerful that format was to have an audience that was unique and not necessarily just
Yeah,
cigar guys.
yeah.
It was incredibly eye-opening.
Because we got to do something.
We
I mean,
have to do
we're an
something.
easy target. We're under attack all the time on both the state and obviously federal level. And yeah, we win a few skirmishes here and there, and I think the substantial equivalency will go by the wayside for the most part.
Let's hope.
Only because, I hate to say it this way, laziness? You think they want to test all this thing? And I mean,
They don't have the ability.
they don't have the ability. So I think we'll win on that battle. But smoking bans and stuff like that, and taxes, especially taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, you got 75% wholesale tax on the cost of cigars in New York, almost 50 in California, 30 in Jersey, and some states that probably not a lot of cigars are sold in are like in the 70s and 80s. This is insane.
I don't think people in Pennsylvania realize how lucky they are.
Right.
Yeah,
we
in
don't
Florida.
have a tax,
Same,
yeah.
There's a reason we have stores here and in Florida. There's no tax, no cigar tax in those states. And I remember when we first opened up, the tax was like 48%. They raised it from whatever it was, or it was none, to 48%. They collected no money. Then they lowered it to 36, then finally to 30, and of course they're collecting more money now at the lower tax rate because people don't cheat as much. They don't buy online as much or cross the border.
They have compliance.
Yeah, they have compliance. Well, enough pontification. Time for our final review.
I can't believe it's been a half hour. already.
Yeah, I mean, we're having fun. Scott, why don't you leave it on?
925.
Wow, man of few words. There's a reason why it's 925?
Yeah. I like, for the most part, fuller-bodied cigars, but I am becoming more medium friendly.
Hey, you're getting older.
But I like the sweetness, I like the boldness, and the flavors I described earlier. Dead on.
That on? Rob?
I agree. Not with the 925 though. I don't agree with that. This is a fantastic cigar. I think it's one of the best ones Rocky's come out with in a long time. I give it a 9.5.
Wow.
I think it's a fantastic cigar.
Very impressive. Moose?
9.5 also.
What do you like about the cigar?
Taste. It just, overall taste is very good.
Taste is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Taste is
I haven't
really
tasted
good.
cigar like this in a
I thought the one we
long
smoked
time.
last week was good. And it was.
It is.
It's very good. This, to me, if you like a little bolder cigar, this is extraordinary. And the price clinches it. Those of you who've watched long enough, watch Rob's expression. You know, I value price as part of the makeup of how we rate cigars. I give it a 9.50 as well. I mean, it's a solid cigar.
Yeah.
We don't give out too many 10s. Don't feel bad.
I don't. I feel great about it.
Anything above 9 is, this panel is pretty tough. I'm probably the woozy on the panel, but these guys are tough here. Well, we want to thank you for watching.
Thanks for coming, Max.
Yeah, thanks for coming
Thank
back.
you so much for having me. It's just a blast.
Yeah, I
good
mean,
to
we
see you
have
again.
fun.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
And don't forget to stay tuned for CigarTIME Outlet Show. Save yourself a bundle of money. And don't forget, next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, tune us in on Channel 4, WACP. And we're out for now.
Life's
Ciao
cheap.
for now,
Real
everybody.
quick, you got 'em.
Cheap cigar.